Hi, I'm Joyce Danger. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to talk a little bit about emotions, our emotions, the emotions of the ladies that we're dealing with, and the support people around us. We are more creatures of emotion than creatures of logic, so kind of knowing that helps to. Sometimes I try to be logical about things, and it's like, okay, don't try to make sense out of something that's not sensical. So kind of remember back when you were a new consultant, and some of you, that was yesterday. So as a new consultant, sometimes we ride a kind of an emotional roller coaster where you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down, and it kind of changes just changes on a dime. Based on the people around you. So I might be talking to somebody as a new consultant and tell them that I'm a new consultant, that I'm a brand new consultant with Mary Kay, and her reaction determines my emotion. So her reaction might be positive. She says, "Oh, I love Mary Kay, and I'm up here," and then the next one says, "Oh, I tried Mary Kay and it broke me out, and then I'm down here, and then I'm just riding it up and down like that." So as a new consultant, you don't know what to say. So I didn't know to say, "Oh, really? How long ago did you try it? What happened? Did you get a blemish, or did you get a rash, or anything like that?" I didn't know what to say, so I just rode the roller coaster. Eventually, you learn how to overcome the objections and ask the questions, and then pretty soon, you don't get that objection anymore because you're asking the questions, and pretty soon you're not riding the roller coaster anymore. Or what I decided is not to buy a ticket for that ride anymore because I didn't like riding the roller coaster and dealing with all those emotions. So eventually, I just kind of avoid it. So what I want to talk about is how to deal with our emotions. Let's start with that. So kind of know what gets you messed up, and how to avoid the things that get you messed up, and then how to get out of that. So kind of self-soothing. If you think to like a baby when they're crying or upset, a lot of times the parents give them the blinky, the binky or the sucky thing or something like that, and eventually they need to learn to soothe themselves and be able to go to sleep without the blanket and without the most of us aren't using the binky and the sucky thing anymore to go to sleep. We can usually manage to calm ourselves down in another way. So we might calm ourselves down with maybe music gets us going or gets us excited again, or maybe it's people that we talk to that we might be able to iron sharpens iron. So if I'm talking to somebody who's a positive person, I'm going to be able to get back up again. It might be something, reading something positive. A lot of people read the Bible or read a positive inspirational thing. Whiners tend to whine together, so if I need to sharpen, get myself up again, I know not to call somebody who I'm going to be whining with, because those people are not going to be able, they don't have the skill to bring me back up. They're going to pull you back down into the mud. If you're talking to somebody who's already in the mud, they're going to bring you back into the mud or pull you into the mud if you're not into the mud, so you don't want to go there. Learn to remember the lesson but forget the experience, that things are going to happen to you. Life is like that I might choose not to do those experiences again, but I do need to remember the lesson, but sometimes things happen, so I'm going to try to avoid those things. So remember the lesson, but forget the experience, so I don't have to keep reliving that experience in my head. Sometimes I have had to learn to forgive people, not that they necessarily asked for forgiveness, but I needed to forgive them for my own self, so that I didn't get stuck in an icky situation or an icky feeling. Learn not to be easily offended, to let stuff go. Be like a duck who just lets stuff, slide off their back, and not get your undies in a bunch, or whatever words you want to say, but to be big girl enough to just let that stuff go. People will say things that will shock you, that you can't believe that they've said these things, and sometimes I listen to, as people are talking, I listen to how somebody's all upset about this, that, or the other thing. And it's interesting to see how, as you mature, to be able to say, I choose not to let that kind of stuff bother me anymore, and to be able to really let it go and not get offended by all that little stuff, and how much easier life is if you're not getting offended by all that little stuff. Just think about traffic and driving on the road, and the people who are all upset about the other drivers, and she cut me off, and this one did this and this one did that. Nobody got up today thinking, geez, I wonder how I could piss off Joyce Danger. What could I do to really get under her skin? I don't think anybody got up even giving me a second thought. It's we all are listen to the radio station, WIFM, What's in It for Me, and, but somebody along the way might do something that, would be, detrimental or, might hurt somebody else's feelings. It happens. Always learn to be proactive. So if things are, things do happen or things might not go the way that we want. So if something's happening, like say at your skincare class that you don't like or that's not working for you, say people are digging in your samples or something like that and you don't like that, find a way to not have it happen that way. And it's not that it's going to work 100% of the time, but have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, so that, that you change it. I've learned, like, for example, I didn't like it when a customer would say, I'm doing the mascara wands and giving everybody their mascara, and somebody holds up their wand and says, well, I use brown. And, it's like, well, I don't demonstrate brown. Well, that felt kind of icky to me, so I would say, today we're demonstrating Love Lash Black Mascara, so for demonstration purposes, this is what we're using. And so that they know going into it, that's what we're using. And so then now I don't have anybody ask me, and I said, it's also available in brown, it's available in waterproof, or we have Ultimate Mascara, and so nobody asks me for brown because I've just said that for demonstration purposes, we're using black. And that seems to take care of that. What I feel like doing doesn't enter the equation of what I'm going to do. So that takes the emotion out of the game. So I get up every day and I have my list of what I'm going to do or make my list of what I'm going to do, and I don't worry about what I feel like doing. Just like you do with your regular job or just like you do if you're taking care of your kids. If you don't feel like feeding your kids, you still feed your kids. If you don't feel like going to work, you go to work anyway. So if I want to have the life of my dreams, I don't decide if I feel like working or if I don't feel like working, I just do it. Just wanted to a side note here is that my husband and I just celebrated our 22nd wedding anniversary this week, and we had the opportunity to get married at Shirley Hutton's mansion 22 years ago, and it's just amazing the life that we've had because I work when I don't, whether I feel like it or whether I don't feel like it. It has provided an incredible lifestyle for us that is beyond anything I could have ever imagined, and we've been kind of reflecting back at that, and so I really would encourage you to do what you need to do when you need to do it so that you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. It is so worth it. Sometimes the phrase, if you've ever heard, whatever, and I don't say whatever with an attitude, and I don't say it with my outside voice, it's in my inside voice, but sometimes things happen and it's like, okay, whatever, if that's what she wants to do, then I just let her do it and just keep a smile on your face and let it go. And I have had to learn to let a lot of things go and not worry about it. And then find the funny in stuff. And the more things I can find the funny in, the better off that you're going to be, because people will do just bizarre things. There is no script for what people will and won't do. Okay, let's talk about, speaking of people, we'll talk about the ladies that we're dealing with. They have not seen the video, the one that tells us how to do a makeover party. They don't have a clue. So they come in with their own agenda, and their agenda might be that they've had a really rotten day, and they're going to make sure that everybody else around them has a rotten time, or they think that, everybody at the party they're going to spread their yuck everywhere. There's going to be that lady at the party. There's going to be the lady there who is just demanding of attention. And I can shower her with attention for that particular hour. I don't have to take, it's not like your kid where you got to discipline them and make sure that they, behave themselves later. I, give her attention. I might spend the rest of my time at the party, standing next to the one who's talking the whole time, who can't seem to shut up. Rather than trying to get her to shut up, it's probably kind of tacky for us as the beauty consultant to say, now, would you stop talking so that we can keep going with this? Obviously, I'm not going to say that. I might go and say, geez, Don, I love your high cheekbones. Can I demonstrate? Would you be the model for this, thing? I want to show a little bit about how to do some contouring on your cheeks, and then I might put my hand on her shoulder and do the rest of the demonstration right there by her with my hand on her shoulder, not on her skin, not on skin, but on clothes, so that I can continue the presentation, but that she's very well aware of my presence right there, and it helps to make her stop talking. So, you do whatever it takes, but I've learned proactively how to deal with some of these situations so that I don't have that person that's, talking throughout the whole presentation. I mean, these things sometimes happen. Maybe the lucky thing for me was that the first party that I ever went to where I watched my recruiter do a party, there was a girl there talking on the phone throughout the whole presentation. This was back, I've been with Mary Kay now, this is my 25th year. So this was back when phones were attached to the wall with the cord. So the cord was across the table, the makeover table, the whole makeover table, the whole time of the party. And my recruiter didn't phase her a bit. She just kept doing the party. And the lady still bought several $100s worth of stuff. And this is, a long time ago. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, people do whatever they do. And it just didn't, it's like, okay, it just didn't bother me. So, I know that the customers haven't seen the videos. That helped me today. I think maybe my in-laws have prepared me for the stuff that people do, because they come up with all sorts of interesting things that they do. My sister-in-law has provided me with all sorts of entertaining commentary of just bizarre things that people do. So maybe you have in-laws like that too, and they are good education for how to deal with people or how to let stuff slide off your back, whichever works for you. We can choose to manage our emotions, or we can let our emotions manage us, and it really is your choice. So let's talk about the emotions of the people who are our support people. So that would be maybe somebody that you share a bed with. It could be your close friends, family members, that sort of thing. They need to know or be in the loop of what's going on with you, and what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish. Because if you keep them out of the loop, how can they support you if they don't know what you're doing? So if I let them know, a little bit about what I do, and what I'm doing, they don't need to know everything. If it's up to them if they're really interested in everything you're doing or not so much interested, but make it available for them if that's what they want to know. One of the things that's helpful in getting their support is if you're a woman of your word and you do what you say you're going to do. So if they see that I say I'm going to attend my success event every week. I know when I was a new consultant, I was going to attend my success event. I told my boyfriend, in fact, I told him that I was going to do this, and he was going to watch my son for me while I did that. And after a couple weeks, I was tired. I didn't really feel like going. And he said, well, you said if you were going to be successful, you really needed to go to these, so you better, go. And I was not happy. I wanted to stay home, and I wanted him to say, why don't you sit down on the couch with me and let's watch TV or something like that. And he just scooted me out the door, and I went, and I was not happy. But by the time I got to the meeting, I was, then we had a great time, and I was fine, and that sort of thing. And I went from then on, and, but you be a woman of your word. Do what you say that you're going to do. Because if you, go sometimes and don't go sometimes, and then they don't want you to go sometime, and you've skipped half, from time to time because you didn't feel like going, well, then if they don't want you to go, and then you say, oh, but I have to, and you've been wishy-washy other times, well, then they're going to fuss about it. So, if you're consistent, just like with little kids, if you're consistent and they stop whining because they know that whining isn't going to get them anywhere. So, that makes a huge difference. We find that if everybody knows what's going on, so like keeping people in the loop of your appointments, so we use the iCloud for, that our appointments go into the phone, and then, so my appointments go into the phone, my husband's appointments go into the phones. We share the stuff. I mean, there's a sharing thing so that he can see what I'm doing, I can see what he's doing, so we don't have surprises, because most people don't like surprises where, you think you're going to have the evening off and just kind of take it easy, and then to find that somebody's going to go off and do something. It's just nice to know what each other's doing. Some people do, at the beginning of each week, they sit down as a family and say, okay, let's look at the week and see what we all have going, so that there aren't any surprise choir concerts, or, oh, I need a costume for this, tomorrow, or all those kind of things that all of a sudden show up and throw us off our game. So that at the beginning of the week, if you have something going on that you need to tell us, let's talk about everybody's stuff, so there's no surprises, and that seems to help a lot. So if you're finding that your sweetie has trouble with you leaving, make it worth his while when you come home, so that he knows that you had, don't come home saying how great a time you had with the ladies and how fun this was, and, he's been home taking care of the kids and, hopefully cleaned up the dishes and all that kind of stuff. Just come home, love him up, and you know what he likes. Make him happy, and pretty soon he'll be carrying your stuff out to the car, and he'd be thrilled to have you go, because if mom is happy, then everybody's happy. And so whether you're making him happy that way or making him happy, in the kitchen, you know what he likes. So take care of that. With the kids, if you talk with them about, maybe there's a goal of something that they want. Some moms have used a little jar where each kid gets, a quarter or a dollar or whatever for every time mom does an appointment, that the kid has this jar and they have a picture on the front of it of something that they want. And then, so the jar fills up, and pretty soon, that they get their Barbie or whatever thing that they want. One gal, Sharon Buck, she said that she did, they wanted a trip to Disney World, and so they were all working towards that, and the kids all talked about what they could do to help Mama to get, so that they could get this money to go to Disney World. And the littlest one, she said, well, what she could do was to not cry when Mama went. And the child was like 3, and I was just amazed that as a 3-year-old, the child could make a decision to not cry when Mama went, and that they would know that they could control that. Lisa Piney, a director in our area, said that she had twin 2-year-old toddlers. I don't know how old they were, and she would put her director suit on in the garage because they would cry and fuss when she was ready to go, and it was hard for her to get out that way. So she just found another solution for it. So you find what works for you and for your family, and so that you can get that support. But I think the consistency of saying what you're going to do and then doing what you say you're going to do and then not changing it makes a huge difference in getting that support. So they know that the whining or the lip pouting out, and I'm talking kids, husbands, support people, whatever, that that's not going to work. So feelings are kind of, and just in closing, feelings are kind of like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which ones that we want to serve. So I hope you have a great week this week, and thank you for listening.